Famous Super Smash Bros. Player Mang0 has gotten into controversy over the weekend when clips of him went viral acting inappropriately with women streamers live on air, humping them while he was intoxicated, with them being obviously visually uncomfortable. This immediately caused a massive firestorm online, with people saying that of course this is harassment and Mang0 should be ashamed, and others arguing that this is just what alcohol does and sure maybe it's bad, but people are freaking out way too much. This resulted in Mang0 putting out a statement apologizing, but eventually he was removed from C9, an organization he's been a part of for 11 years. The Smash community also weighed in on everything, comparing this whole thing to the Hacks situation, pointing out that they believe if nothing happens to Mang0, then the tournament organizers for Super Smash Bros. Are hypocrites. Welcome to the internet versus Mang0. It starts when Global Consequence 744 posts on the livestream fail subreddit, once more, Mang0 is humping Maya's head, attaching this clip.
See, we're not drunk, guys. Yeah, we're not drunk. But Mang0 on the other hand, no. He's humping toes. No.
End the stream. End it.
End the stream, Mang0 says.
End the stream. And we karaoke.
Mahir replies, clicking this hoping that Mang0 is the name of someone's dog, and Potion Seller says, hoping this was a clip of an animal from Alvius. Feels bad, man. Duck Humble says, the one animal Maya doesn't want to save, and the Teflon Dude replies, she would put him in a rabbit cage with no enrichment activities at all. Ban for Pixel says, it was funny on Zoil's stream when he started humping a cardboard cutout of himself, but then he just kept going, for literally hours, humping away, like brother, get a hold of yourself. And Wine and Noses says, bro's got stamina. Wax Murderer replies, Smash players being weirdos. And Ordinary Al says, hey, at least he did this to an adult. A lot of Smash players wouldn't have the decency. And Weekly Lab says, that's an Ultimate player thing. Melee players have mental health crash outs instead. Teokaj Labrage says, he crosses the line from drunken fun into basically harassment. Look how clearly uncomfortable Maya is and how she just wants to get away from him. And O'Diesel says, it's not basically harassment, it is harassment. Global Consequence also posts another clip of Mang0 humping in front of Emily and Cutie on our livestream fail.
No, point it down.
Emily's chat.
You trying to do thug round or no? Damn.
Mang0's humping Emily.
I'm not.
That's okay. Okay, I'm ready to play.
Emily, get it. Emily, stop it.
You're doing great, Mang0. Very impressive. Nice movement.
Meninsaw says, getting Mang0 drunk is the most potentially dangerous mistake you can make, especially at a tournament. In Own Writing replies, all that was missing is a surprise just a Minx return. East Coast Habitant says, this is why I would never drink 20 beers while being live streamed. And Mr. Fahrenheit replies, cause you'll start SHing women? And You What Mate replies, I will preface this by saying no way does this justify SH, but just because you do something while drunk doesn't mean it's your true self coming out. People acting like alcohol doesn't affect different people differently. Some people get violent. Some people get chill. Some start yapping while others get quiet. One person might get more charming while another might become a total creep. Some get wild, some pass the fuck out. It is all about knowing how alcohol affects you and how to manage that, whether that is managing your intake, your environment, or your company. Morley replied to these two clips saying, it just kept happening. At one point he grabbed Emily's hair and tried pulling it. Lud had to step in to stop him. Attaching this clip.
Are you karaoke?
We're doing it here.
Here?
Well, apparently everyone's just trying to run it here because we got drinks and it's easy to set up.
I'm down.
Emily?
Hi, Mang0.
What are you pulling her hair?
Mang0, you're
I wanna
so
beat this bitch
silly.
up. Don't beat her ass
You
up,
guys
bro.
are amazing.
I won't let him beat you up.
Thank you, Lud. That was so fun. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
Boink,
thank you for
boink,
competing.
boink. I did ask.
What's your final placing?
I got second in the worst cup.
In the silver cup?
Red shells.
That's not bad.
What the hell is that?
That's not bad. Was
Right?
that Borderlands sponsor actually good?
What?
Was that Borderlands sponsor good?
It was fun. I was loving it. I love Borderlands 4.
I love to hear that.
But this was the best day ever. 10-hour stream.
Woman's hair. It's voluminous.
Karaoke on this TV.
Oh, great. Voluminous.
She only watched that shit once
Emily.
a month.
Yes, I am.
Turns out we're staying here.
Okay,
We're
we'll
gonna do karaoke on this TV over here.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, I'll end soon.
And then the post continues, Mang0 humping Emily with cardboard in between, attaching this clip.
Oh! Final words.
Ooh. Wait, should kids do drugs? Okay, all right.
Oh, Mango's so funny. Okay. I'll just end him with my child. I'll meet you at karaoke.
All right, yeah.
Okay, bye. Done.
Many more examples. Disgusting. Back to the original clip we looked at with Maya and Mang0. LSF Forwarder also posted on Twitter, and Runa quotes the thread by saying, "The Smash community has people permabanned for saying slurs at 19. I think calling people slurs are bad, by the way, but you can make multiple women feel uncomfortable by SHing them, and it will be fine, and your friends will say, that's just Mang0, haha. Have some consistency at least." Case of Beast replies, "This why I be quiet, because I would have knocked him clean out, lol. I got 3 sisters. I don't play that shit." And Runa says, "I know if anyone did this to me, my friends would have them on the floor in less than a second." Dalton E quotes the clip by saying, "I was banned from the Smash community for posting about transgender elitism corrupting the community. Mech was banned from Smash for sharing edgy tweets from a secondary account. Hax was banned for creating a YouTube documentary addressing a narcissistic individual who harassed him personally for over a decade. Zion was banned from Smash for retweeting a Stone Toss meme. DeShizwiz was banned from Melee for posting videos discussing Bible scripture. However, event organizers remain silent when Leffen severely disrupts Hax's life, both online and in person, to the point of driving him to S, or when Mang0 is recorded on a live stream intoxicated and making a woman visibly uncomfortable through inappropriate physical behavior. The Smash community justifies these bans under the pretext of safety, yet they penalize individuals for their online posts while overlooking actual misconduct in real life. This is bias and corruption by leadership." Gresh quotes the clip and says, "Oh hey, Mang0 SHing the hell out of a woman by simulating S right in front of her face while she's clearly disgusted. Then tells them to turn the stream off so he can get away with his mime R shit. Get this guy the fuck out. Nobody in Smash should be ignoring or excusing this. This dude has a son who is old enough to see this right now and understand how gross his dad is being to these ladies. That's how little shame he has. Get him out." Kinsurugi replies, "Even more dehumanizing that he does it while looking straight into the camera. He's using her as an unwilling participant in his attempt at appealing to viewers." Technicals quotes the clip and says, "Dude, why?" And Joe replies, "I don't think bad things should happen to Mang0 for this, but plenty of people would get raked across the coals for the deeper crime of not being Mang0." And Tech says, "I mean, we need at least something. He SH'd these women on livestream." Burly Guy replies, "Guy needs to unironically drop alcohol. 33 years old with a son in middle school. Just sad to watch this latest embarrassment." Katru quotes the clip and says, "He was just drunk is such a stupid fucking excuse for someone who's been an alcoholic forever. Been a Mang0 fan for a long time, but nah, fuck this dude." Then after all of this backlash, Ludwig went live the next day, and Insert Coin to Lose post this clip on LSF with the title, "Mang0 no longer invited to Ludwig's events."
So I feel really bad about that. And, I reached out to anyone who I felt might have felt uncomfortable and talked to them. But also, and I already told Mang0 this, I'm no longer inviting Mang0 to Mogul Moves events. Because, it's a privilege to go to an event, man. Like, the whole point of an event is, it's a fun thing to do, have a good-ass time. And if somebody appearing jeopardizes somebody else having a good time, that just can't be a thing. Now, I see a lot of dialogue on, broader implications. I'm only worried about my team, my events, you know what I'm saying? I don't speak for the Melee community. I'm not championing any other action. I'm
Funky Fresh Wizardry replies, "Some additional info Ludwig mentioned later on. Mang0 did get cut off about an hour before stream ended, but it was too late. Ludwig apologized for egging his drinking on at earlier points. He will not be making a main channel video out of this event, and he also may not ever do a Beerio Kart event ever again for a variety of reasons, this being one of them. He basically said if one person at the event has a bad time, it's a bad event, and he did reach out to everyone he suspected did not enjoy themselves on the stream to apologize for not having a handle on what was happening." Panda Burr says, "What's kind of funny is that early on-ish, Valkyrie even said, is this not enabling him in regards to Mang0 drinking? She knew something was up." An Accomplished Peak replies, "Yeah, Ludwig playing innocent, but he invited a recovering alcoholic to a drinking event and egged him on to drink. Doesn't excuse Mang0, but Ludwig is in no way innocent. He prioritized content over another person's health." And Green Smurf says, "Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Mang0 is a recovering alcoholic. As far as I know, he has been drinking prior to this." Non-Reality says, "See, this is why you need sober people people at a drinking event. Any number of people could have been like, hey, listen Mang0, you're acting a bit weird. You need to either chill out or leave before it gets out of hand. But everyone was drunk, so no one did that. Obviously Mang0 is at fault for his actions, being drunk isn't an excuse, but also like event staff/organizers, the dude who is literally recording him doing it, like maybe say something. And not just, oh hey, don't do that, like actually do something about it. And Okicha replies, interceding is always a gamble. I know I have gotten into 2 drunk situations and had people give me the hey buddy, and I was able to recalibrate my behavior, but I've also seen people get offended and turn the situation way worse. And Watkins says, Mang0 had a history of trying to fight people when drunk, so it definitely a gamble with him in particular. Mang0 himself then put out a statement on Twitter saying, hate waking up and seeing that I was a drunk dumbass. Don't like using the drunk excuse because it's childish, but in the moment I think everyone is as drunk as me, and that's usually not the case. I will privately apologize to anyone I made uncomfortable, and I hope I'm forgiven. Zarl replies, pretty crazy. Even back in the day in my early 20s when I was plastered, I still asked women for consent before dancing with them or touching them. Didn't matter how wasted I was. I still knew better than to make women uncomfortable. Alcohol doesn't magically make you a different person. It removes inhibitions and makes you feel like you can get away with things. Reveals what's really inside. By this point in your life, you'd think you'd have more self-control and would know better. Wesley Gator replies, she's not going to fuck you, bro. And Zarl says, well actually, she did. Many times. Crazy concept, but women actually really like when dudes at bars and clubs are respectful. And Wesley Gator replies, I can smell the fedora. Games Kid replies to Mang0 by saying, you're not a teenager, dude. You clearly can't handle your alcohol. So either figure out a way to stop drinking or don't go to these events if this is how you're gonna be. People like you are the reason I hate drinking culture in general. This whole fucking, oh, I was drunk, haha BS. Enough is enough. You're harassing people and putting it on a drink when it's all you is crazy. Plenty of other people were drinking and not acting that way. You know your limits. Siege replies to Mang0 by saying, not a Zero fan by any stretch, but I'd like to shed light to the inconsistencies with how this community deals with player issues. So I'm commenting this to come back later when he is inevitably let off the hook for this. If he doesn't get dropped and banned from NA majors, there's serious flaws in the system that need rectifying. You cannot hold people who are supposed to be peers for different standards because of popularity. If you have a large creator getting into trouble, maybe you shouldn't have helped make them a large creator to begin with. And attaches this meme of Zero saying, I settled my lawsuit with the second biggest perp, here's the court statement, and a Soyjack saying, OMG, guilty P, why are you not in jail yet? And then the tweet we just read from Mang0 and a Soyjack saying, holy shit, my king. Nick replies, I mean, there's a big difference between what Mang0 did and what Zero did. Be fucking for real. And Siege says, missed the point entirely. Both SLE driven claims. If following continuity, Mang0 needs to be banned now and dropped from his org. Never said they weren't different, but the handling is for sure going to be different despite that Zero started on an allegation and Mang0 is currently starting on video evidence of the act. So by that logic, he should already be gone. No? GG Easy replies, why does someone who steals a car get punished more than someone who steals a bike? Both are theft. Mang0 then makes another statement on his Twitter saying, I feel very fucking stupid and embarrassed. Think like 99% of my problems always stem from drinking, so I'm gonna reevaluate my relationship with alcohol. I'm not downplaying anything, I know I'm dumb and I know better. I will accept any consequences that come my way. Calico replies, 1 year ago, showing this post from February 2024, where Mang0 says, blaming the alcohol is always the easy way out as someone who has done it, but eventually you realize it's really always up to you. Blacking out and not remembering shit was hilarious when I was way younger, until I hit a certain age and realized, damn, that's not funny at all. Just gotta look at your relationship with alcohol for like 10 minutes, and I think it's pretty easy to see if you can drink responsibly and have a good time, or maybe it's not for you. And back in February 2024, Platinum replies, responsible Mang. Yeet also tweets out about the Mang0 situation, saying he's going viral on LSF, and Dude quote tweets him saying, it's hilarious. Mang0 has been doing dumb drunk shit for as long as Melee has been played, and it's just now that he did it on a live stream that he's being punished, or at minimum people are shitting on him in public / in general. This is exactly how the Melee scene operates. They know dumb fucked up shit happens, they're aware of it, complicit, and let it slide all day, all night. Only when it's recorded on camera do they ever end up doing something about it. Otherwise, they just deflect. Pack it up, weirdos. Then Cloud9 puts out an official statement on the whole situation, where they tweet, we are aware of the recent incident involving Joseph Mang0 Marquez and fully acknowledge the concerns raised by our community and partners. Following an internal evaluation, we have made the decision to release Mang0 from Cloud9. Regardless of tenure or accomplishments, the behavior demonstrated is entirely unacceptable and directly conflicts with our organization's core values. We maintain a zero tolerance stance regarding harassment or any other form of inappropriate conduct. Our primary focus remains fostering a respectful, inclusive, and safe environment for everyone associated with Cloud9. We will continue to collaborate closely with our talent, partners, and community to uphold and reinforce these standards. We wish Mang0 the best in his future endeavors. Mang0 himself replies, I'm sorry, C9. You guys were always amazing to me, and I'm sorry it has to end this way. Appreciate everyone at the org. C9 will always have a special place in my heart. And MSK replies, try not being an alcoholic weirdo and life will be better. Matt replies to C9 statements by saying, so many other pathways here. Learn from traditional sports, rehab, counseling. How long had Mang0 been at C9? Perhaps there's something the org needs to reflect on. This is status quo for C9 and esports in general these days. Joshified says, could have at least offered some rehab or something. He's an alcoholic. Support your teammates. Midas says, good move, regardless of what the freaks in the replies say. LS quoted C9 and says, think this decision is wrong, and it goes better to give chances for atonement/redemption. Then again, I have a serious issue with thinking this should always be the norm, so I am biased. Would rather have seen indefinite suspension combined with rehab assistance and monitoring. This is just sad when you know Mang0 is also likely someone who needs assistance in a recovery journey. Jose replies, wanting to excuse frat boy practices in SH just because you like the guy, and you wonder why nobody at Nintendo and the rest of FGC community takes Smash seriously. And LS says, I absolutely do not like Mang0, and people who conduct themselves like he does make me uncomfortable even being in their presence. Doesn't change my philosophy on forgiveness/redemption being a thing almost all people should be entitled to, although I know this makes many people angry. As an extreme hypothetical, I think if someone even murdered my grandmother, arguably the most important person to me in my life, for example, I don't think it's right for me to claim they don't deserve the opportunity to redeem themselves in some way or change entirely as a human being. This is a very deep talk and philosophy that doesn't go over well with random people on Twitter. I have a severe issue with this philosophy in that it's been something I've actively attempted to change in therapy, but struggle to do so because I can't seem to find a logical reason why it shouldn't be the case. And Jose says, I truly believe in redemption arcs, and I do hope Mang0 gets his, but right now he has to pay for his consequences. What he did is absolutely wrong and he should never be defended. Until he's truly sorry and actually works on himself, he's a horrible person. And LS says, that's why my suggestion is indefinite suspension and assistance, because that is a punishment, and also I personally believe Mang0 can't do it on his own without assistance. The alternative is just cutting him to the wild, and the likely he actually changes is slim. Jose says, again, no. He needs to understand that doing stupid shit will get him in trouble. You're basically enabling that behavior with that logic. LS closes out his thread by saying, going to close Twitter because some of the replies are really painful to read, mostly because people are having the classic reading comprehension issue that is rampant on this platform. To reiterate, what he did is unacceptable and condemnable. He should indeed face punishment. I absolutely agree. I have a personal issue in that I philosophically want to believe everyone can/should be allowed to change or try to. Preventing problems from ever reoccurring should be a top priority over abandonment or just blanket punishment. What he did has happened, and so the next question should be how to both punish him and also prevent it from ever happening again or something similar. From everything I know about Mang0, he has a long-standing problem with alcohol since forever. I'm unaware if anything like this incident has ever happened before in public or private. Because I don't believe Mang0 is capable of changing on his own, I would rather C9 both punish him, but also leverage their ability to help him with rehab/therapy/whatever, so that he could change and or prevent a situation like this or similar from ever happening in the future. If at the end of rehab/therapy/etc. they decide they want to fire him, that's totally fine. It disturbs and saddens me greatly how everyone's response to problems often is, we want blood. I'd rather an outcome be that someone gets punishment, but also things are done to ensure that such events never happen again, or the person changes in such a way that they are an aid in even helping others not commit similar acts. I think Mang0 being cut to the wild is a very slim chance, near zero, that change actually occurs. And instead, a cycle begins, and while maybe a similar event doesn't occur, different kinds of problems from alcoholism then manifests. And thus, while this incident has passed, future incidents are more likely, and I'd want that to always be prevented however possible. I don't like, and I know I'm in the mass minority here, how little people want to try to help others or look towards the future to prevent things. Abandonment is very rarely ever going to produce a positive result in these cases, especially at his age. You could say, not my problem, but that is the problem. No one actually cares about others as humans. You can both punish people and want to see them change or help them. Ultimately, C9 has made their decision though. I truly hope those close to him actually do step in and try to help, because preventing anything similar in the future or different manifestation outbursts should be the desired outcome. I don't know, man. I would just like to live in a world where yes, he faces punishment for what he did, but also one where he never repeats what he did again and or doesn't have different kinds of incidents occur in the future. Jinli quotes Cloud9 and says, literally one night of bad decisions ruined Mang0's entire career and legacy. Tempo quotes Cloud9 and says, man, I'm at a loss for words, just feeling sad. Chris quotes them and says, damn, one of the things things that I'm still finding confusing about all of this. No one stepped in after the first, second, or third hump, a house full of people and no one did anything. Technicals quote tweets C9 and says, surprised something actually happened. If the attendants didn't have clout, they probably would have called it the Mang0 and swept it up like everything else in the melee community. I mean, he lost his sponsor before Leffen. I don't think a permanent ban is necessary, but it's nice to see some consistency for once. And Capzerd replies, yo Tech, can you elaborate on why you don't think a permanent ban is needed for this instance of SH? Isn't the idea to set a precedent with this example? And Tech says, he's clearly just a sloppy drunk and a dumbass. I believe in redemption, but obviously certain cases don't include reintegration. If his intent was malicious, then I'd say he should be banned for life. Stubby Toe replies to Tech by saying, I don't know. Seems gay that we're financially ruining him for being cringe to women. And Tech says, financially ruined is a stretch. He can still stream and get a normal job if necessary. What he did makes him a brand risk, so their response isn't abnormal. Mang0 then continues to tweet about the situation when he says, couldn't sleep. Feel like I let so many people down. Talked to a few friends and just realized I have a problem. Everyone has coddled me for so long and kind of looked the other way when it came to my drinking. Sorry to everyone I've let down or hurt. I know it just looks like I'm trying to save face, but I genuinely feel so awful about it. All I've done is reflect on my life and realized I'm a broken human. I will try and redeem myself over time as I always do. Gonna stop drinking immediately and get it together. Sorry that I'm a fuck up, but I will and can do better. And then he also said, C9 dropping me, probably getting banned from tourneys. Fucking shit, man. No one to blame but myself, but man, never thought I could hit this low. Probably won't hear from me for a while. I'm sorry everyone. Wish I was better. I had it all and fucking tossed it in the trash can. Tech replies, hopefully when you put in the work and appeal, people don't treat you the same way you all treated hacks. I wish the best for you though in the future. Just refocus on yourself and your family for a bit. Soiled replies to Mang0 by saying, maybe if you would have stood up for hacks, people would have stood up for you. Except for he didn't even do anything remotely as creepy as what you did. You're almost a 35, man. Hate Twitter replies to Mang0 by saying, apologizing to these bitches only makes you look like a bitch. Fuck that. Sloth punishment posts on our livestream fail. ConnorEatsPants take on the Mang0 situation. Attaching this clip.
I think we'll just have to see how things go. I think you guys understand how I feel about it. There's no defending what Mang0 did or anything like that, but at the same time, I think there is like a bit of a, you know, witch hunt mentality of people trying to pile on and make things worse for them than it maybe needs to be, but it sucks. What happened? I was just Mang0 got too drunk at Vireo and did Mang0 stuff that, you know, was, you know, there's no other way to put it. It was pretty much sexual harassment. Whether or not the intent was, you know, I think he was doing that with everybody, but obviously it has a different... You get what I mean. I don't want to talk about it too much. Obviously it's worse when it's around women and stuff that are visibly uncomfortable, especially when it's on stream. And they don't want to have that up with them on stream and stuff.
OpanaG76 says, just cause Mang0 is his friend, he'd be ripping jokes all day long and calling it ridiculous if it was someone he didn't like who did it. And Dr. Fender replies, that's kind of how friendship works. Suddenly these threads make so much more sense. And Ballnora says, people don't understand at all how much people will look past the flaws in the people they know personally. It's just how our brains work. Just Jazz says, is Connor not literally known for being the guy who makes fun of people like Mang0 when shit like this happens? This seems like hilarious double standard now that one of his friends is in the firing line, not gonna lie. Kinda disappointing that he can't disavow it without couching it. Reminder that witch hunts were people hunting things that didn't exist. Mang0 SH'd those girls. It's not a witch hunt if he actually did it. Edit, reminder that Connor was on stream screaming about George Not Found allegedly cuddling a girl. Yet this is the absolute most he can eke out about Mang0 blatantly on stream SH'ing multiple women though. And Dudusby says, you're saying Connor's a pussy then? And OG Soul replies, I mean, does that even really need to be said? Oklahoma Back replies, if anyone had any balls, this shit would have been nipped in the bud the minute he started whatever the fuck he was doing. And once more again says, I think it's been handled well by everyone and now it's time to move on from this. Mang0 has apologized and acknowledged he has a problem. Appropriate punishments have been handed out. iSpringRoll says, yes, and it's perfectly reasonable of Connor to explain how the NPCs who are outraged have gone too far. ConnorEatsPants himself then replies to the thread by saying, while searching for my words and attempting to maintain a positive tone for stream, it sounds like me trying to downplay it. It is SH. It is totally inexcusable. When I said said Mang0 doing Mang0 stuff, that was meant to be referring to his typical drunk antics. It's one thing when it's around his buddies who are used to it, and it's another when it's around women clearly made uncomfortable by it. Unquestionably, by definition, it is SH. The "it's different when it's on stream" comment I make towards the end is me attempting to articulate how the situation sucks even more than it otherwise would for the women involved, since their experience is now a clip to be shared, reposted, re-experienced, and discussed by people who otherwise wouldn't have even known it occurred. Women put in these situations often feel they need to laugh it off or let things slide so as not to create conflict. Here, they're not even granted that control, and the consequences it leads to for Mang0 aren't anything they get to control either. It's been a lot to process having been a fan of his for 10 plus years and a friend now for 2 to 3. Disappointed, angry, sad, all of it. Being even closer friends to the victims in this situation, seeing them put in this spot by someone I've only ever spoken highly of just crushes me. Knowing my proximity to this and that I'd be expected to comment, I should have been prepared to properly articulate my thoughts on it yesterday/today on stream. I know elaborating here likely won't make anything better, but this is honestly the most close to home drama, bad way to describe this, I've encountered, and it makes me feel a little better to make sure my actual thoughts and feelings are laid out for anyone who cares. Thank you, Yeet, for putting this on my timeline right before I head to bed. It will be clear replies to Connor by saying, "It's an open secret how you and your friends treat women behind the scenes. Very interesting to see how your group operates live on stream and especially how everyone responds afterward." Shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives, Kiko, Salsoud, and Coldest Bandito. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next episode.